All right, hey there, guys. Let's do it. I'm meteorologist Ben Peine. It has been at 10 on this Wednesday. Happy hump day to you. It is July 23rd, and we're going to bring in the heat. Heat wave rolling back in. Long-lasting heat wave, basically today, getting worse tomorrow, and then all the way through the middle of next week. Also, we have in the weather headlines an air quality alert for today, and we have a heat advisory for tomorrow. Also, it's Wednesdays with Weddington. So we should be talking to Brad Weddington from Weddington Custom Homes coming up here in just a little bit. There's some information scrolling across the bottom of your screen. There's where you can find me on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Peine. Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube, or extolmag.com/weather. All the different ways you can find our live stream. And then again, there's weddingtoncustomhomes.com. If you have any questions for Brad about custom home building, anything around the home from the rafters to the basement to around the yard, drop in the comments and we'll chat with Brad here in a little bit. Looking outside, it is pretty much all sunshine, so you can definitely grab the shades for today and enjoy that AC. We're going to give good vibes to the air conditioner because it is going to be working around the clock with this next heat wave rolling in. So again, those weather headlines I'll pop up here for you as well. We do have the heat air quality alert for today. First of all, code orange air quality alert for today. So if you have asthma, breathing issues, may want to spend some more time indoors through this afternoon and early evening time. Heat advisory for tomorrow from noon to 8 p.m. Heat index is likely going to climb to around 105. So today the humidity isn't too terrible, but then it's going to get worse and worse as we head through the nighttime and into tomorrow. With the increasing humidity, Friday and through the weekend, there's just an isolated afternoon kind of heat of the day, pop-up shower or thunderstorm chance, but it looks very isolated. It looks like a mostly dry weather pattern. As we're just kind of on the edge of this heat wave, this ridge of high pressure that will last through at least the middle of next week. So again, we'll be talking with Brad Weddington from Weddington Custom Homes coming up here a little bit later. And if you want to learn more about Bradley, and you can head to his website here, weddingtoncustomhomes.com. He built my house and my mom's house, a lot of houses in our neighborhood. And so just an awesome guy, can really help you through that process. If you're in the mood to build a custom home, there you go. You can learn more about it right there. We're going to get some comments in here, and we'll get to your forecast here in just a second as well. We'll take a look at the live conditions out there. We'll dig into the weather model data coming up here right around mid-show. So again, plenty to chat about on this edition of Ben at 10. And as always, typically we've got Beverly Haggis tuning in first thing this morning. Thanks for tuning in from Borden, Indiana there. And we've got Orlean Whitlow from Hodgenville. Have a great day. Still too hot. Yeah, we're looking at lower to mid 90s today, and that stretch is going to continue again all the way through the middle of next week. I'm hoping as we look at the long range data, the Ben on a limb segment a little bit later with the weather models, that we'll see a little relief. Not this weekend, next weekend as we start off the month of August. So it's a little ways down the road, but we will eventually get there. And again, want to pop up what was nice about this morning is that we did have temperatures that did drop down to the 60s in many areas. So it was kind of a refreshing start. This is a look at the indianamesonet.org. And shows a low of around 66 there in Crawford County, Patoka getting down to 69. So not bad. And again, the humidity not crazy out there for today, but will be ramping up through the overnight and into tomorrow morning. You can always head to extolmag.com/weather, and this is where you're going to find our live stream as well. We got interactive radar, current temperatures. There's the 7-day forecast. I did just post the brand new weather story there. All about the heat wave. So a lot of resources and tools. There it is. Just had to refresh the page there, and probably have to refresh this page as well. The weather story is all about the heat wave rolling into southern Indiana and Kentucky as well. So that's probably a conservative look at the heat index values that are going to be back for tomorrow. There's also a lot more information as well. What also may bother you, other than the heat, is that we have increasing levels of weed pollen across the area. So that also might be just another little issue to deal with. And then today, we, I guess, sadly, celebrate our last 9 p.m. sunset, as our sunsets are going to be now before 9 p.m. starting tomorrow. So a lot more information right there. And if you head to the bottom, you can find out more about Michael Long. And here is his page at amfam.com. Just search Michael Long. Proud to be an American Star certified agency, excellence in customer service here throughout Indiana. Can do work in Kentucky as well. A lot of 5-star reviews here. And actually just had to put another car on there last night. So even, after work in the evening time, just texted Michael, hey, can you add this? Send me the VIN number, the year, boom, it's insured today. That's how quickly he will get back with you. So just give him a ring if you want a quote. You need some more information about car insurance, house insurance, a lot of different things you can insure, obviously, through AmFam. 812-578-3072 is where you can get a hold of him. LionsRoofingCo.com. Of course, I've talked about this a bunch of times, where we had to work with AmFam and Michael Long with DJ Zip over at Lions Roofing and the folks over there to help out with some roofing issues earlier this year due to a tree going through the roof. 812-294-3595. Protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime, not only in Indiana, but also Kentucky. Again, give them a ring. You can also get free estimates if you have some roofing issues, you want to get checked out. There is a form you can fill out right there. Before I mention Lib's jobs posting, there is a job posting right here as well. Roofing repair technician here at lionsroofingco.com. And again, a lot more opportunities here. If you have a family member, friend, child, grandchild, somebody that needs some work or a new career, here you go. Available employment opportunities all over the place here at libspaving.com. That is LIB as in Ben, spaving.com. Of course, you can get certifications here too to level up your career, no matter where you are at in your career. You go to ivytech.edu, and you can look at all the different certifications here. There's 42 different programs offered, and they partner up with organizations and businesses and schools all throughout the area, really powering the workforce in Southern Indiana. RN programs, IT, entrepreneurship. And I really encourage, if you have a child, a sophomore maybe, look into the dual credits. Can save you thousands of dollars right there. So thanks to all of our partners there, and we'll get to your forecast here as well. So let's bring it up. Well, actually, I kind of want to check out the current conditions as well. So let me go ahead and bring up this before we get to that. There's a look at our live camera out there, as it is all sunshine. Again, the shades and the AC definitely needed for today. So here's another live view out there as we bring up the Falls of the Ohio Foundation camera. There you can see the Falls of the Ohio, and looking just fine there with all sunshine too. And again, the humidity not crazy just yet for today. And let me go ahead and bring up a look at our current conditions here back at extolmag.com/weather. Go down to the bottom here. There's also a lot of different resources here. You get the severe weather outlook, day 1, day 2. If you go to the severe weather watches, as I mentioned, as well as you zoom into our area, we have the heat advisory for tomorrow, air quality alert for today. So we got you linked up to that. And then if you go to the bottom here, here's the full screen interactive radar with the current temperatures, which they're going to be rising a little more rapidly out there for today. Yesterday, felt pretty good. Of course, we've got July heat. That's not going away. But we've got more July heat for today. So we have to around 94 degrees, but not much more of a heat index today. But that, again, will change tomorrow. Hey, we got a happy birthday in here as well from Lillian Lasley. Thanks for tuning in. Happy birthday to you. Thanks for tuning in this morning. And all right, let's bring up that forecast here. We've got, again, let me take that off. Let me bring this up. And here's a look at that for the play ball forecast. Trying to get that back to feel a little better so I can get out there and play some golf. But 88 by noon today, 94 for that afternoon high. And we got Christian Walker tuning in here. Good morning to you. 86 at 8 p.m. Going to go 0% chance of that rain for today, which is a very light east-southeast wind for today. And we got a good morning from Judy Tyndall from Cloverport. Thanks for tuning in there along the river. And looking at the forecast as we look ahead, UV index is at a 10 today, so very high level. Get that sunburn very, very easy for today. And we've got the allergy report here. We got moderate levels of the weed pollen kicking in. So I've heard some folks that may be starting to get bothered a little bit by the increasing weed pollen across the area. Our sunset times. So this is, again, a little bit of the story here. This is our last 9 p.m. sunset. We've got 14 hours and 22 minutes of daylight today. And then we've got the before 9 p.m. sunset for tomorrow. And then we continue to lose gradually, about a minute and a half or so of daylight per day. So that drops us down to 12 hours and 40 minutes of daylight. So almost 2 hours of daylight we lose by September. And then November 2nd, we don't even want to think about that, the 5:42 p.m. sunsets. So definitely, as we look ahead, we lose a little daylight, but that forecast today, just avoid the heat exhaustion. We've got a heat wave rolling in. This is going to be a long one. And I was just kind of chatting with my buddy Eric Yazel, Clark County Health Director, talking about how in the ERs around the area, they do get heat exhaustion, dehydration quite a bit during these heat waves. So got to take it seriously. And we have the air quality alert. So if you have breathing issues, it's going to be a very hot one out there. And not only that, but poor air quality. We build up ground level ozone. We've got the pollutants that are up there. The sun bakes on those pollutants and then creates not only the ozone, but also some particulates in the air. So not the best breathing day out there for today. And we just don't have much wind out there to mix things up. A very light, kind of stagnant air across the area. So boom, the heat is on. Hot, hot, hot. I'm sure there's some more other heat songs out there that I'm forgetting about. The 75, our low for tonight, mostly clear. Humidity increasing tonight as we get that south flow moving in. And we've got a good morning here from Angela Epperson, staying in the air today. Have an awesome day. That's not a bad plan. I will be trying to do the same. And Beverly Haggis giving Lillian Lasley a happy birthday. Our regular viewers here on Ben at 10. And again, we've got today is Wednesdays with Weddington. So we're going to have Brad Weddington coming in here. If you got any questions from around the home, drop it in the comments there and we'll chat it up with Brad. Always fun to talk with him here in just a minute. Here is that forecast for tomorrow, your Thursday, July 24th. 76 out the door and then 90 by noon. If it's 90 by noon, we've got some issues. It's going to be a hot one. 95 tomorrow. But so as I mentioned, the humidity not terrible today, but it is going to be ramping up tomorrow. So we not only have the heat, we've got the humidity factor, hazy, hot, and humid, the triple H's. So heat advisory in effect tomorrow afternoon with the heat index likely up to around 105 with our, there again, on the bottom right, the 8:59 p.m. sunset. 7-day forecast here for you, 95 back-to-back, Thursday, Friday, feeling hotter than that. Now, Thursday, some of the weather model data was trying to hint at a very, very small chance of an isolated pop-up afternoon shower. I think it's like 5% chance or less. I just kept it off there. It'll be mostly sunny. A front tries to get closer, but I think it gets hung up over central Indiana. We'll see this on the weather model data here in just a moment. So a lot of the area will be dry Friday. I've got it at about a 20% chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. A little better chance if you're up around Bedford, Indiana, if you're up around Seymour, maybe Scottsburg, Highway 56 to Highway 50 in Indiana. A little better chance as you're kind of closer to that front Friday. It looks like that front continues to stay north of us. So other than maybe a brief pop-up afternoon shower or thunderstorm, the heat of the day kind of thing. Only about a 20% chance this weekend. So great weather for the pool or the lake, the river, the AC, whatever you got to do to stay cool. So also notice the nighttime temperatures here. I've got them in the upper 70s. So this kind of at or near record stretch of incredibly humid air for this summer continues. So July going out on a hot note as we head through the middle of next week, around highs in the mid, possibly touching the upper 90s in some urban areas, lows near 80 degrees. So just oppressive heat and humidity. Do what you can do to try to keep cool out there, friends. So there is that 7-day forecast. And we'll bring up some of that weather model data here in just a second as well. So thanks for dropping in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And then thanks for liking or subscribing on YouTube or on our Facebook page. And then if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching later on today or tonight. And drop in the comments later today, as well as we also look at those comments later on too. All right, let me bring up we'll look at the radar and satellite across the area as things are super quiet. So let's just go full screen with this. Look at all that sunshine. If you want active weather, so we're on the edge of kind of high pressure, keeping us high and dry here. And then if you look north, there's a severe thunderstorm watch up here in northeastern South Dakota. So that's where all the busy weather is right now, in the northern plains into the upper Midwest, South Dakota into Minnesota, but pretty quiet stretch of weather for much of the continental United States as we look coast to coast and border to border here. We got Karen Adams. Good morning from Mount Washington, Kentucky, there in northeastern Bullitt County. Thanks for tuning in, Karen. Appreciate you. Let me get out of the full screen mode here, and let's take a look at the dew points, because that is probably our biggest impact over the next week, is the incredible level of moisture that's going to be in the air. The air that you can wear, as we often say. Cut it with a knife. So here we go. So right now, the really high dew points, anything in blue, is just think of immediate sweats, tropical air. And you can see that up and down from the Great Plains, and I can just kind of highlight it here too. So all of this is super tropical air. And where is that going? It is heading our way tonight. And then, of course, out west, this is your dry heat. That is your desert air, dew points in the 20s and 30s out that direction. So let me clear out my little drawing there. And let's zoom in a little bit. So our dew points aren't bad at the moment. It gets worse when you go into southwestern Indiana and western Kentucky. So dew point 66, that is certainly tolerable, not bad at all. And then you can see the dew point numbers. That is crazy. Down in southwestern Kentucky, a dew point of 82. That's about as muggy as you get. And the cornfields, they bring up the humidity as well. The corn and soybean releases their moisture from the roots, from transpiration. There's also some evaporation, evapotranspiration, and even adds more humidity. So again, those dew points in the 70s, it's going to be heading our direction. So our dew points, check this out. It's kind of interesting. So the level of moisture around these cornfields can often be worse than down here in Florida. So we're looking at 79 dew point western Kentucky, down around the lakes there, and around Kentucky Lake, land between the lakes. And then you got mid 70s dew points in Kentucky, or in Florida. So that's kind of the big story here, is just the return of tropical air for us. All right. I'm going to bring up the future radar here. And we're going to look at the 48-hour HRRR. And it's going to pretty much keep things, all dry today, not worried about anything, just going to be hot out there. I'm really going to have to fast forward this to tomorrow. And we're not going to see much tomorrow either. You can see the active weather out to our northwest over Iowa. So we'll see if anything tries to pop up with the heat of the day Thursday. Trying to find anything. So tomorrow is looking mainly dry. Heat advisory. It's got a little pop up down there in southeastern Kentucky. There's like one at 6 p.m. One little tiny pop up. So that's why I'm saying maybe. So that's at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Like a 5% chance or less of a little pop up shower or thunderstorm. But again, most areas are going to be dry for tomorrow. I'm going to bring up the NAM weather model, and we'll go to our Friday. So there's a front to the north Friday. As we go into the afternoon, it kind of has a split Friday. A little better chance down around the Tennessee state line, and then up in central Indiana, kind of been a little bit of a trend. So I'm really only going about a 20% chance of a pop-up shower thunderstorm for our Friday. And then that front continues to lift north as the heat wins the battle, and we're mostly dry for this weekend. And let me bring up a couple different things here. This is the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for severe weather. That's all way north of us, of course, today, where we see it right now. And I see Brad starting to pop in here. So we're going to talk to Brad here in just a second. And then we go to day 2. No severe weather for us. We're not even in a thunderstorm outlook for tomorrow. So again, most areas will stay dry. Then day 3 is Friday. No severe weather threat. So not worried about any of that. Now, as we look at the Climate Prediction Center, again, we're right on the edge of this heat wave through. So this is the 6 to 10-day outlook, which takes us all the way through next week. We're hoping, and we'll take a look at this in just a second after we talk to Brad, that we may get a little bit of relief by not this weekend, but the following weekend. So it might be, we're going to have some patience, it looks like. And so, all right, Brad, are you about ready? Can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here, bud.
All right, let's bring him up in the tube box. There we go. Look at all that sunshine behind Brad there. So this is Brad Weddington. If you haven't watched in the past, if you're a new viewer, this is Wednesdays with Weddington Custom Homes. Again, Brad built my house, my mom's house, a lot of our neighbors' homes, and homes throughout southern Indiana. And I know you're busy time of year for you, and we're gonna have some questions for you here in just a second. How you feeling out there in Henryville?
Oh man, feeling good. Boy, we've had a wet summer, Ben. It's I don't know if it's up there on the gauge. I don't know. I just know personally, It just feels like it's been an extremely wet summer. So
I mean, you nailed it on the head. And all year long, like on average, of course, we've had a few mini drier spells, but if you average it all out, it's like 1 out of every 2 days we've had at least like a trace of rain all year long. So too much rain. Speaking of water and where it needs to go, I want to bring up this picture before we get to some questions here. Let me see if I can. I'm going to remove that and bring this up. All right, so I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to bring this up full screen. So tell me so when you build custom homes, it's not just the home that needs to be custom, but also things like this. So what is happening in this picture here?
It's when we do custom homes, some of the properties, it's like we're quasi home builders and developers at the same time. What you see there that's extremely cool. So what that is we're crossing a little stream. It's basically just a runoff stream. And we're crossing that to access the build site. So instead of doing a culvert, picture a 4-foot culvert down in the very bottom of that ditch. That driveway would then have to go way down and then turn and go way back up. By doing this, those are roughly 8 feet tall. So we're allowed to take that, that dip in that valley, and now
Yeah.
we've got 8 feet to the bottom of it. So we really level off that dip, and it makes it a very nice drive to the home.
Now I've got a stupid question. So what do you connect to that
So
to make it flat on either side of it?
you bring in really, really good clay dirt to pack in that little gap. Basically, if you look at the edge of that, and you've got the dirt right here, we're filling that wedge full of a fill material. And what we did, we used a machine called a sheep's foot. So we basically put that dirt in lifts and ran that roller over it to compact that. So what that does, like I said, is that brings the grade up and allows for a lot smoother transition on your driveway. It's super cool. That we actually got a guy from Ohio that comes in to put those together.
So obviously you know a lot about home building. Obviously you're a home builder, so you're learning along the way as well, especially with stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah. Those are cool things. It definitely ends any kind of repetition, when you have that, because I remember walking that property with the homeowner before he bought the property, and I kind of told him my idea on it, and I was like, it's going to be cool, but you're just gonna have to trust me on this. I can picture it up here. It's hard for me to take it from here to describing it, but those pictures really, really help.
I kind of know from experience because our septic had to go like a quarter mile back in the woods, down valleys, up hills. And I mean, you had to deal with that with us as well. So when you think custom home building, sometimes the property needs to be custom tailored to as well. So very cool. Thanks for that information right there. Now let's move on. Speaking of septic and other things, I want this segment to be a little bit about what we don't think about and what you might be reminded of to think about. So again, if you have any questions in the bottom, put it in the comments and we'll get to that and we can pop up your comments. But again, this is Brad Weddington Custom Homes. He's live in his backyard there in Henryville. So I was thinking about driveways because through the last couple of winters with the salt and all the treatment that they put down and like the cinder, I think is what it is on the hills, it's we've got like pop marks in some of the concrete there. I did seal it probably 10 years ago. I don't really see any evidence of that seal that I did a long time ago. So a few factors there when it comes to driveways, maybe you should think about, Brad.
You should. When it comes to sealing your driveway, I'm going to recommend you do that about every 4 to 5 years. That's definitely going to help. Because not only, when you think of concrete, concrete's also porous. So what that's going to do is, in the wintertime, if you don't have a really good seal on it, because a lot of people think about the salt, they think about, cinder grit getting on it. But I'll tell you, one of the big things is if you don't have a good seal on your driveway, especially a concrete driveway, as well as I do, Ben, when it rains on concrete, it turns a different color. Okay, it's absorbing that moisture. Yeah. So on really, really, really cold winter nights, if you don't have a good sealer on your driveway, what happens is that moisture that permeates through that concrete just a little bit, it can freeze close to the surface, and it can actually pop some of that face of that concrete off.
That's what's happened on ours. Yeah.
Yep. So it almost looks like somebody took like a shotgun and shot your driveway.
Yes. I see. I always thought that was salt. I'm like, how is the salt like everywhere?
Yeah. And it's just pockmarked, and that's what a lot of what you're seeing. So you definitely need to seal it for sure.
All right, got you there. Now, also, you told me after we built that I would need to open up the cap to the septic, pull out this a little filter, spray it off. It is one of the nastiest jobs around the home. And it's one of those things I keep forgetting to put on the list of things to do. But maybe some things to think about with septic. Do you put some of like that yeast in the septic? How often do we need to treat it? How often do we need to empty it? Some advice there.
A big misconceived notion of a septic tank is, you'll have people say, well, my septic tank's full, I need to pump it. Well, when we install a septic tank at a house, we fill it full of water. I mean, that thing's completely full. A healthy septic system, and what I mean by that, it's got good bacteria in it. It really never has to be pumped. Okay, a healthy septic system, because that bacteria is doing what it needs to do. One of the
so it may look full when you open it up.
Oh yeah, it's always full. Okay, because we fill them anyways, because if you've got a concrete tank in the ground, some septic tanks are concrete, some are plastic, depending on how we can get the tank in, but the majority is going to be concrete. And people think, you got this big, heavy concrete tank in the ground, it's not going to go anywhere. I'll tell you, especially with the high water tables that we have, if you don't fill that tank full of water when you install it, it will float up out of the ground.
Wow.
So you always want to keep them full, especially if you've got, real rainy spring, anything like that. So we keep them full. And what you want.
Wait, I may have lost your audio there a little bit.
You want that good bacteria in it. And one of the big things is, don't use a lot of bleach. Don't put a lot of bleach down your drains if you've got a septic system, because what that's going to do is that bleach is going to kill a lot of that bacteria, and you really don't want that in a septic system.
A healthy organic environment there in the septic system.
Exactly.
So, all right. Anything else you can think of, like maintenance wise, we might not be thinking of very often to just check up on?
Believe it or not, I'm actually doing a project in my backyard.
A project?
A project. You want to see it? It's kind of disheveled, but let me turn this a little bit. You see that deck on the back of my house?
Oh yeah.
So I ripped out my existing deck and did that. And my deck was only 9 years old then, but being in the sun, in the heat, in the new treated lumber, I'm telling you, they've changed the treatment in the past about 15 years. It doesn't last, man. So
yeah,
I'm actually replacing mine with a composite decking material.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like their wood's so wet as well that it dries out, and then
it is, and it's they changed the treatment. Like I said, there was, I think the EPA was involved in that, and that was 15 to 20 years ago, and it's really, really changed. And not only that, something to think about. And if I'm getting off topic, just let me know.
No, we can talk about it now.
But
we got all the time in the world.
On my deck, the span is 12, or it's a little over 10 feet. It's not very large where it's under the covered part. So 2x10 used to be normal for that. 2x10 floor joists. I'm replacing everything and adding a new deck, and every bit of it is 2x12 floor joists, because where this lumber is grown, it's growing so fast now that if you actually cut the end of a board and looked at it, and you'll see the growth rings. Mm-hmm. The growth rings of modern lumber are so much further apart that we've actually had to change the span charts as to how far each 2x10, 2x12 can span.
Not as strong.
Exactly. It's pretty phenomenal. But yeah, we're all 2x12s, and on any of our houses that we do, we don't use any kind of dimensional lumber. When I say dimensional lumber, that means 2x8, 2x10, 2x12. As floor joists, every bit of our floor joists are either eye joists or floor trusses. I
kind of wonder, you think the EPA has good intentions with healthier, treatment or whatever the reason is for that. But then on the flip side, if you got to cut down more trees to replace a deck more often, then
do you really gain anything?
Is it hurt? All right, who knows?
Yeah,
interesting topic.
It's kind of like my truck that I have. I have a diesel truck, and I have to put a special fluid in it now called diesel exhaust fluid to clean the air. So it's a 2.5 gallon jug that I have to put in my truck a plastic jug in a cardboard box that gets thrown away to help the environment.
We're just people. We're still trying to figure it all out.
We're trying to figure it out. It's like it makes you scratch your head and you go, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll play along.
Exactly. So last topic here, we got a heat wave rolling in. We're looking at heat index numbers, 100, 105. We talked to you during a previous heat wave a few weeks ago. And I know you're part of the, what is it, Southern Indiana Builders Association?
Building and Development Association of Southern Indiana. Yes.
Building Development Association of Southern Indiana. Someday I'll get that right. But I was just also texting with Eric Yazel of the Clark County Health Department. He's an ER doctor, a buddy of mine as well. And they get a lot of folks that come in because of heat exhaustion and dehydration. Just a little tip out there for subcontractors, contractors. It's going to be brutal over the next week or week and a half. So anything on that?
What we do, a lot of us will work early in the morning and cut off, call it 11 to 12 o'clock. Come back at it about 5 o'clock. They're working through the middle of the day, right? You know, when we're in a heat wave like that, working through the middle of the day out in the sun, it's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. So we make sure our guys know we don't push them either this time of year. It's, you know, get as much done as you can, but at the same time, take care of yourself, drink plenty of fluids. A lot of our guys have coolers with waters and stuff like that in it. They'll take a shirt or a rag and they'll dip it in that cooler water, wrap it around their neck. Just stay cool. At the end of the day, you know, we're building homes for people, which is, it's great, but we're not ER doctors, Ben. So
right.
It's not life or death. And my guys know that. I push, but at the same time, I'm realistic. And when it's hot like this, it's better to take care of yourself and maybe slow down the pace a little bit. So
right, or just hop in your pool back there behind you.
Yeah, hop in the pool. Yeah, with a deck that has no deck boards right now. It's a little hard to get into it, but
harder to get into mine. I don't even have a deck around.
Well, the cool thing though, Ben, when we talk about the treated lumber is, and this is just the beauty of the market, is with the treated lumber doing its thing. You know, you had Trex, which was the first brand that did composite decking, and it was quite a big difference between a Trex board versus a treated board. I mean, you were talking 3.5 to 4 times the cost. And now you've got some different players in that arena that, you know, isn't Trex brand. There's off brands that make a very, very similar product. And, you know, that cost is more around, call it 2.5 times the cost of a board. Okay. And in existing, you know, back in the day when you had the different treatment in the treated lumber, you know, that lumber would last 25 plus years. Okay. As long as you kept it stained. This lumber, it just doesn't last. So when you look at your replacement cost, you know, if I'm only getting 8 to 9 years out of a deck, and with composite, I'm going to get 25 plus, at 2.5 times the cost, it actually makes sense. It makes sense in the long term.
Right.
And from a maintenance perspective, to maintain a composite deck versus a treated lumber deck, night and day. I mean,
power wash it and be done with it.
Power wash it in the spring and call it good. Maybe hit it again in the early summer, because it's still going to look like it's been spray painted yellow with the pollen that we get.
Right.
But as far as a maintenance aspect, yeah, it's night and day difference, Ben. So I'm going to go that route, and we're going to see kind of how that plays out.
Very nice. Good luck with it. And then we got a question here from Perry Porter from Borden. Where is Weddington Custom Homes located?
Everywhere. No. Our home base, we're home based out of Henryville, Indiana. One of the reasons I did that, I like the smaller school up here for the kiddos. And then on top of that, I wanted a little bit of land, i.e. I've got the pole barn in the backyard and more room to kind of grow my business. But we're based out of Henryville. I'd say the majority of our work though is kind of Southern Clark into Floyd and Harrison. That seems to be where we're pulled most often. But we cover, basically the best way to describe it is we cover Clark, Floyd, Harrison County, and on into Washington County just a little bit in the southern part of Scott. So,
And I've seen you cross the river every once in a while.
not anymore. Not
Sorry.
anymore.
Sorry, Kentucky.
No, I did that years ago. I did, and logistically, it quit making sense for me logistically. So we focus 100% on just taking care of our Southern Indiana customer base.
Well, awesome. Congratulations on the success here in Southern Indiana. If you want to get in contact with Brad, on the bottom of your screen there, you can see weddingtoncustomhomes.com. You can find all the contact information right there. Thanks, buddy. I know you're busy. I'll let you get back at it.
Good luck chatting with you this morning, Ben, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, and we'll do it again.
All right, man. We'll see you then.
Take care.
All right, that is Brad Weddington Custom Homes. Let me go ahead and take this off. And so again, at the bottom of your screen, if you want to email me, ben@extolmag.com. You can also follow Wednesdays with Weddington on Facebook and www.weddingtoncustomhomes.com. So appreciate Brad. Always good information. I've got usually a plan as we go into the conversation, and then I like to see where it naturally goes. So always learn something new there about custom home building or anything around the home. You can just drop in those questions. So we'll get back to your forecast. Look outside here. It's all sunshine. This is a look here out at the corner of Vincennes and Market, our live look here from uptown New Albany. Got a hot bike ride there, riding on by at Extol Media Studios. So let's go ahead and bring up that forecast here. We've got some weather headlines for you. For our July 23rd, we've got an air quality alert for today. That is a code orange air quality alert. Heat advisory for tomorrow. That means the heat advisory likely climb up to around 105, and we could keep that heat index around 105 all the way through the middle of next week. Isolated pop-up storm chances, looks like Friday through the weekend. I've got it only at like a 20% chance. And as I mentioned, this is a pretty long-lasting heat wave for us. So your play ball forecast, would love to get out there and play some ball, but the back is still not all that great. 88 at noon, 94 at 4 p.m., 86 at 8 p.m. We're going to go 0% chance of rain today, and just a very light east-southeast breeze. So the wind is very light. We have the sunshine baking us, and so we've got a poor air quality kind of day around the area. So that's why the Louisville Pollution Control District has issued that air quality alert for today. So if you have, COPD, asthma, other breathing issues, maybe just want to limit your time outdoors. UV index 10 is about as high as it goes. So definitely need that sunscreen if you're going to be out there for a while. And we now have our pollen up to moderate level with weed pollen. So the weed pollen is going to be continuing to increase, and it will eventually turn that from orange to red as we get into that heart of that ragweed season. So that might be impacting some of you. And also the 9 p.m. sunsets are going goodbye. So today is our last 9 p.m. sunset of the year. Boo-hoo. Tomorrow, July 24th, 8:59 p.m. sunset. We lose daylight. We lose an hour from our sunset. By September 9th, before 8 p.m. sunset, we lose almost 2 hours of daylight because we get later sunrises and earlier sunsets. And then by November 2nd, 5:42 p.m. sunset. So that forecast here for today, getting hotter out there, 94 degrees, and just, again, a very light breeze out there. Stagnant July, dog days of summer kind of heat. 75 our low for tonight, mostly clear with the humidity increasing with a south breeze coming in. And the forecast here for tomorrow, going to bump that up to 95 for your Thursday. And you're going to notice the big time humidity back across the area. So 90 by noon, 95, feeling like 105. And there's that 8:59 sunset on the bottom right-hand corner. Vicky Berger agreeing with me. Boo on the sunsets. But it is a sign, if you don't like summertime, that fall is a little bit closer. I think we're 62 days away from the autumnal equinox, when the sun's direct rays are over the equator. We've got equal day, equal night. That's what equinox means. You got the vernal equinox when spring begins, and the autumnal equinox when the fall begins. So again, about 62 days away, about 31 days from college football beginning. We're getting there. And your 7-day forecast, 95s back to back. A lot of mid 90s here stretching throughout the 7-day forecast. And just a small chance of an isolated pop-up shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon through the long run. Notice our warm nighttime lows in the upper 70s. So staying steamy here for quite some time. And we had a couple comments come in since I last checked. We've got John Fox wishing Lily and Lasley a happy birthday. Good morning, John. Celeste Garrett from Elizabethtown. Going to be a scorcher today. Christian, good morning so far here. And Brian, simply it is hot. You are right about that. Lillian on her birthday, wishing everybody to stay cool out there. And I hope everybody's week is going good, along with Christian Walker there, tuning in from Carmel or Carmel, Indiana, depending on how you say it. So this was the 6 to 10 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. I'll look at a few more things here before we wrap up our show here this morning. I wanted to bring up the precipitable water. I want to give you at least some hope of relief. So let me bring up the future radar map here, and I'm going to switch this over to the GFS, and then I'm going to switch this over to the precipitable water. Nope, that's total precipitation. There's precipitable water. And I'm going to jump this ahead to next Wednesday. So this is the Ben on the Limb segment here. We're going to go far out to the 30th of July. So we're wrapping up the month of July, and the muggy air is still with us. This is the precipitable water. What that means is this adds up the water throughout the column of the atmosphere, and if you squeeze it out with like a storm, that's how much rain you could get. So precipitable water, decent measure of the just mugginess and tropical air that is in place. So it's still in place through next Wednesday, still looking at mid to upper 90s. Let's go to Thursday, be the last day of July. And so that is what we're looking for, okay? Do you see it? Do you see what I'm seeing here with the GFS weather model? And it's this right here. That, my friends, is dry Canadian air. It teases us, but the European weather model is like a day or two behind the GFS. The GFS is a little more encouraging and speeding this up. Not this weekend, but next week. Notice how it wins the battle and pushes the tropical air to the south. So that is not this Thursday, next Thursday, July 31st. That is a little bit of hope there. And you can see that, tropical air from the Gulf and the Atlantic Ocean that supplies our continental humid air, and then very humid, of course, over the Atlantic Ocean. So there is that backdoor cold front, we'll call it, late next week. Now, let's go to August 1st. So that would be Friday. Not this Friday, next Friday, 5 p.m. And there you go. That tropical air goes down to the Gulf Coast, the deep south, and that would be refreshing air. Now, again, I hope this happens, but this would be the lowest dew points that we've seen in a long time. Let me bring up the dew point map here and maybe go to like August 2nd. So this would be not this Saturday, next Saturday. This is some real deal dry air in the weather models right here. So let me see if I can query. Oops, I need to bring up this. All right, so our dew points are going to be in the 70s tomorrow. But take a look at this. 40s, 50s dew points. You are talking like if you go up to the Great Lakes, if you go up into Canada, and then this would be phenomenal if that happens. Feast your eyes on that. That is really, really dry air. So when is this? If you're just popping in, this is not this weekend. This is next week. This is hope for an early August cool down We'll watch it day by day. We'll cross our fingers. We'll give it good vibes. We'll see what happens. But this is the best hope we've seen as far as some relief. And maybe we'll just end it with that right there. All right. So we had Brad Weddington on the show this morning from Weddington Custom Homes. Let me get out of there real quick. But also want to give a shout out to Lions Roofing, lionsroofingco.com. Whether in Indiana or Kentucky, give them a shout. 812-294-3595. And you can find a lot more information all about them at their website here at lionsroofingco.com. In the careers section, there is a job opening for a roofing repair technician. They worked alongside with Michael Long here with AmFam Insurance, American Family Insurance. Excellence in customer experience, American Star certified agency. And also, I had to bug him last night because we had to put another car on our insurance. It was in the evening time. I know he probably already had a work day. Shot him over the VIN number, the year of the car. Had insurance by the end of the night for that car. Now I need to head to the BMV and get it registered and all that fun stuff. But thank you, Michael Long, for that work. Odd hours of the day, getting right back with me. So that's the kind of service that he can do for you. He gives back to the community all throughout Southern Indiana. So 812-578-3072 if you want to talk with Michael and maybe get a quote and get some maybe improved service, perhaps, depending on who you work with. A lot of job openings here at libspaving.com, L-I-B as in Ben, S paving.com. They're celebrating 50 years. This is their website, the top asphalt contractor around our area. So if you know someone, friend, family member, neighbor that needs some work, needs an opportunity, needs a new career, take a look at what all they do. Hit the career section right there and level up your career. Whether you're in high school or you're in college or you're in midlife like me, and you want to learn something new, easy to do right here. Go to ivytech.edu. Head to the Sellersburg location, 42 programs offered. Great folks there powering the workforce in Southern Indiana. And we've got Vicky Berger wishing Lily and Lasley a happy birthday. Let's all wish Lily and Lasley, who's here every morning, a very, very happy birthday to you today. And we've got Christian here with a weather opinion. I don't like the cold weather at all. I love warm. I'm tired of cold weather. I, too, would be, I think, okay living down in Florida. But we lived down in Augusta, Georgia for a few years, and we did end up kind of missing the seasons a little bit. But I did love it down there. I'm a summer lover myself. All right, 10:52. We've been talking for a long time here, and we're going to give it to Lillian for the last comment of the day. Thanks, y'all. Happy birthday. All right, today is the air quality alert. Tomorrow's a heat advisory. We're going to talk about this heat wave as it rolls on. You know, where we live, there's always a lot to talk about. So thanks for joining us on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, P-E-I-N-E, maybe Extol weather page, extolmag.com/weather. or Extol Media on YouTube. All ways to find our live stream and our content. Thanks for liking, subscribing on YouTube as well. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.